CQ calling all radio amateurs and listeners. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain. This broadcast comes to you from amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Mappishall, Bedfordshire. Welcome and thanks for joining us, and it's Sunday the 12th of January, and here is the GB2RS news broadcast prepared for you by the RSGB for all radio amateurs and listeners. You can also find this news bulletin on our website at rsgb.org, along with links to groups and organisations that we may mention in this broadcast. This week's headlines: opportunities for you to be part of the RSGB's regional team. World Thinking Day on the Air is in February. And are you interested in volunteering with the amateur radio maker community? We'll have more on those items shortly, but first, have you thought about becoming a volunteer RSGB regional representative for your area? There are 8 regional representative posts available in this year's RSGB elections, which gives you the opportunity to represent the views of members in your region to the board, as well as supporting and advising the district reps in the region. Regional reps are also members of the volunteer leadership team and contribute to our strategy and policy development and putting those policies into action. If this sounds exciting to you, and if you're a confident communicator, experienced in managing people, then go to rsgb.org/election, and once you're there, read the candidate pack. You'll also find details about how to apply, with information on other roles, including the RSGB President and 2 elected director vacancies. The closing date is midnight on the 31st of January, so act now and use your expertise to make an impact on amateur radio in your region. On the 15th of February, Girl Guiding members will celebrate World Thinking Day on the Air. This event encourages Girl Guiding members to make friendships with those in other units using amateur radio to communicate. Crawley Amateur Radio Club and RSGB volunteers will host special event call sign Golf Bravo 1 Sierra Charlie Golf, which relates to Sussex Central Guides. Girl Guiding members of all ages will be able to celebrate and communicate on the amateur bands. If you or your amateur radio club plan to work with local Girl Guiding group for World Thinking Day on the Air, then please get in touch. Use the email address comms, that's Charlie Oscar Mike Sierra, at rsgb.org.uk, so we can promote your event for you. As part of our strategy to take amateur radio to new audiences, we're delighted to advertise a new volunteer role. This is an opportunity for someone to be an advocate for amateur radio within the maker community. The spirit of experimentation, curiosity and learning is common to both groups, and we'd like to foster greater crossover between the amateur radio and modern maker communities. This crossover would be centred around hackspace and maker spaces, as well as larger events, but it would also encourage individuals from each community to inspire and learn from each other. The role is meant to take amateur radio to a new audience, emphasising how the licence would support other hobbies rather than the promotion of traditional amateur radio activities. And to carry out this role, you'll need to be happy working with different communities, be proactive and organised, and be able to build a team and help it to achieve its goals. To find full details of the role, go to rsgb.org/volunteers. And if you'd like to apply or be part of a wider team, then contact RSGB Board Director Mark Jones, Golf 0 Mike Golf X-Ray. His email address is golf0 Mike Golf X-Ray at rsgb.org.uk. Now, we're also recruiting volunteers for 2 roles that are key to delivering the Society's convention. The convention chair will understand the advantages of both online and in-person events, and to be successful, the applicant will have to be aware of all aspects of amateur radio and will help to shape the RSGB conventions of the future to suit the changing amateur radio audience. Another opportunity to be part of the convention team is as the Society's lecture coordinator. And this role is part of the convention and Tonight at 8 teams and needs someone who's proactive and collaborative. You'll need to bring ideas for presentations that educate and inspire amateur radio operators to try something new, learn more about interesting topics, and expand their knowledge of amateur radio. To find out more about these roles and how to apply, go to rsgb.org/volunteers. And just a reminder that the next event in the popular 145 Alive series is on Sunday the 26th of January from noon until 3 p.m. and there'll be nets operating in most Maidenhead squares across England, Scotland, Wales and Ireland. To take part in the event, which is designed to promote FM activity on the 2-metre band, just call in and make contact with others. For more information you can visit the 145 Alive Facebook page. And just a reminder for you to please send details of all your news and events to radcom@rsgb.org.uk. The deadline for submissions is 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to Sunday's broadcasts each week. And now we have details of rallies and events. The Lincoln Shortwave Club Winter Radio Rally is on the 26th of January. That's being held at the Festival Hall, Caister Road in Market Raisin. The doors open at 10 a.m. and admission is £3. Hot refreshments and ample free car parking will be available on site, and the cost for a table is £10. And to book, please contact Steve Burke, Mike 5 Zulu Zulu Zulu. Steve's number is 077 776 99069, or you can email him on Mike5 Zulu 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 @outlook.com. On the 9th of February, the Mid-Cheshire Amateur Radio Society Radioactive Rally will take place at Nantwich Civic Hall. That's on Market Street in Nantwich, Cheshire, and the postcode is Charlie Whiskey 5 Delta Golf. The doors will open from 10 a.m. to 3 p.m. and admission is £5. There'll be hot food, refreshments and free car parking available on site. For more information, contact Patrick, 2 Echo 0 Victor Golf Foxtrot. His email address is info@radioactivefair, that's all one word, radioactivefair.co.uk. The Red Rose Winter Rally is due to take place on the 23rd of February from 10 a.m. at Mather Hall on Mather Lane in Lee, Lancashire. The postcode is Whiskey November 7 2 Papa Juliet. Please note that the maximum number of 5-foot tables per trader has had to be reduced from 6 to 5, and the price remains as it has for several years at £10 per table. For more information you can visit their website, which is whiskey-mike-romeo-charlie.co.uk. On the 1st of March, the Lagan Valley Amateur Radio Society annual rally will be held at Hillsborough Village Centre. That's in 7 Ballynahinch Road, and the postcode is Bravo Tango 266 Alpha Romeo. The doors open at 10:30 a.m. and for more information visit their website, which is Lima Victor Alpha Romeo Sierra .Uniform Kilo. And now we have the special event news. The South African Radio League, or SARL, celebrates its 100th anniversary this year with the SARL Centenary Marathon QSO Party, and that began at 0000 UTC on the 1st of January and will end at midnight on the 31st of December this year. Throughout the year, the League and its members and clubs will be on the air with special event call sign Zulu Sierra 100 Sierra Alpha Romeo Lima, plus the permanent call signs of Zulu Sierra 6 Sierra Romeo Lima and Zulu Sierra 9 Hotel Quebec. For details of awards that will be available and for more information, you can go to tinyurl.com/Sierra Alpha Romeo Lima 25. That's tinyurl.com/SARL 25. The Deutsches Museum in Munich, one of the largest science and technology museums in the world, celebrates its 100th anniversary this year. Special call sign Delta Lima 100 Delta Mike will be active throughout the year from the amateur radio station, which is part of the museum's permanent electronics exhibition. You can QSL via Delta Lima 8 Foxtrot Alpha, and for more information go to qrz.com and look up the call sign Delta Lima 100 Delta Mike. Now we have the DX news. Thierry, Tango Kilo 1 Charlie X-Ray, is active in Cameroon until February 2025. In his spare time, he's operating as Tango Juliet stroke Tango Kilo 1 Charlie X-Ray, and he's operating on the 20, 17, 15, 12 and 10 meter bands. He operates mainly FT8, and he's using a solar power supply. You can QSL via Logbook of the World, EQSL or Echo Alpha 5 Zulu Delta. Don Kilo Whiskey 7 Romeo is active as Victor 73 Kilo Whiskey. He's operating from the Marshall Islands in the northwestern Pacific. He's there on a work assignment until September 2025, and in his spare time he operates Morse code and FT8 on various bands. You can QSL via Logbook of the World. And now we have the contest news. Today, the 12th, it's the RSGB's Affiliated Societies 80 and 40 metre data modes contest. That runs from 1300 to 1700 UTC. Using PSK 63 and RTTY on the 80 and 40 metre bands, the exchange is signal report and serial number. On Tuesday the 14th, it's the RSGB's 432 MHz FM activity contest, and that runs from 1900 to 1955 UTC. Using FM on the 70 centimetre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Also on Tuesday the 14th, it's the RSGB's 432 MHz UK activity contest, and that runs from 2000 to 2230 UTC. This contest uses all modes on the 70 centimetre band with the exchange as signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Thursday the 16th, it's the RSGB 70 MHz UK activity contest, and that runs from 2000 to 2230 UTC. Using all modes on the 4 metre band, the exchange is signal report, serial number and locator. Then on Saturday the 18th, it's the RSGB's Affiliated Societies 80 and 40 metre SSB contest, and that runs from 1300 to 1700 UTC. Using SSB on the 80 and 40 metre bands, the exchange is signal report and serial number. And now we move across to the HF radio propagation report. This was compiled by Golf 0 Kilo Yankee Alpha, Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar on Thursday the 9th. Well, as predicted, the solar flux index last week fell into the 160s. We had one X-class solar flare on the 4th, and there have been 11 M-class flares since then. The result has been an unsettled ionosphere from the 4th to the 6th of January, with the KP index around 5 on the 4th, falling to 4 on the 5th and 6th of January. There were reports of visible aurora over the UK on Saturday the 4th, but it was nothing like the record-breaking aurora that we had in April 2024. There were coronal mass ejections, or CMEs, over this period, but they were mainly facing away from Earth. Maximum usable frequencies held up over this period, although the shorter days do mean that the maximum usable frequencies over 3,000 kilometres didn't stay above 28 MHz for long after sunset. MUFs fell below 10 MHz by 1800 UTC on Sunday the 5th. So it's a good idea to get your high band DXing done by sunset. Next week it looks like the sun is going into hibernation. The main sunspots will disappear over the western limb, leaving it a little bare. NOAA predicts that the solar flux index will remain low until the 16th, when it should climb into the 200s again. Unsettled geomagnetic conditions are forecast from the 16th to the 20th of January, with a maximum KP index of 4, and there are no coronal holes to worry about. So the weekend ending the 12th, that's today, looks set to be reasonable for HF operating, barring any X-class solar flares and accompanying coronal mass ejections. And we predict that maximum usable frequencies over 3,000 kilometers will be above 28 megahertz from around 0900 UTC up until 1500 UTC. And now we have the VHF and up propagation news, and this was prepared by Golf 3 Yankee Lima Alpha and Golf 4 Bravo Alpha Oscar. Well, we're in the middle of a winter cold spell, and we're about to see a large high coming over the country. The high is building in colder air, and that means sharp frosts and perhaps some fog, so there's a chance of patchy tropo at times. Conditions may improve as the high slips south after this weekend, ending today the 12th. And this may allow milder, moister Atlantic air in from the west to improve the refractive index contrast across the inversion, and that could lead to tropo. The solar conditions have remained interesting and produced a few aurora alerts, so we can probably benefit from watching the KP index during the coming week. Meteor activity has passed its early January peaks, and we're now sliding back into random meteor scatter for our best options. These tend to be best just before dawn. There is one minor shower this week. That's the Gamma Ursa Minorids, which is active from the 10th until the 22nd of January and peaks on the 18th of January. We've mentioned sporadic E quite a lot recently, but with the passing of the meteor activity, the chances of it occurring do reduce considerably. Although limited activity may enhance the lower bands, it probably won't feature in the usual high HF and VHF bands. The moon reaches maximum declination this weekend, ending today the 12th. Moon windows are long and peak moon elevations are high. Path losses are also high and increasing all week, and 144 MHz sky noise is low all week as well. And that's all from the propagation team. This is Golf Bravo 2 Romeo Sierra, the news broadcasting service of the Radio Society of Great Britain, brought to you by amateur radio station Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Bedfordshire. Well, next we have the local news, and please note the details of all RSGB affiliated clubs and societies are available on the RSGB website, and that includes email addresses and website links where we have them. We'll start off with news for the Midlands. Meetings of the Bolsover Amateur Radio Society take place on the first and third Tuesday of the month at the Bainbridge Hall in Bolsover, and the postcode is Sierra 446 Papa X-ray, and those meetings start at 8 p.m. More information and reminders for meetings are available on the Society's Facebook page, which is at Bolsover ARS. The Bromsgrove and District Amateur Radio Club meet every Friday from 8 p.m, and they also have a regular coffee morning on Wednesdays in the Club Shack from 10:30 a.m. Then on Monday and Wednesday evenings they have a net on 145.375 MHz from 7:30 p.m. Burton Amateur Radio Club has slow Morse code training on 14.055 MHz on Mondays at 11 a.m. They also have a club night on Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Plough Inn in Horninglow. They also hold a very informal open net on Thursday evenings from 8 p.m. and on Sundays from 10 a.m. around 145.575 MHz FM. Central Radio Amateur Circle has a net on 145.575 MHz from 7:30 p.m. on Tuesday and from 12 p.m. on Saturday, and they'll be having a Google meeting at 7 p.m. on Wednesday. For more information, visit their website, which is Charlie Romeo Alpha Charlie Romeo Alpha Delta India Oscar.com. Cheltenham Amateur Radio Association has daily nets on 145.400 MHz at 8 p.m. and on Monday there'll be a DMR net in talk group 23592, and that starts at 8 p.m. Then on Tuesday they have slow Morse code transmissions around 3540 kHz from 8 p.m. On Wednesday they have a net on 144.350 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Friday the net is through Golf Bravo 3 Golf Hotel or Golf Bravo 3 Romeo Sierra from 8 p.m. On Mondays, Coventry Amateur Radio Society will hold an open FM net on 145.375 MHz from 8 p.m. And on Wednesdays they have a Zoom meeting from 11 a.m. And on Friday they hold a club night which is held at St. Bart's, and the postcode is Charlie Victor 3 2 Delta Tango, and the meeting starts at 8 p.m. The Dudley and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday from 6 to 10 p.m. at Wrighton Mill. That's on 59 Vale Street, Upper Gornal in Dudley, and the postcode is Delta Yankee 3 3 X-Ray Foxtrot. Gloucester Amateur Radio and Electronic Society holds an informal net every day on 145.475 MHz. That's at 3:30 p.m. And on Monday, members will hold a construction meeting. Then on Wednesday they have a net from 7:30 p.m. on 145.475 MHz. There's another net also at 7:30 p.m. on Thursday. That's on 145.475 MHz, moving to 80 meters SSB later on. And finally on Friday there's a net on 432.220 MHz SSB starting at 7:30 p.m. The Kettering and District Amateur Radio Society have their breakfast meeting from 10 a.m. on Sundays, and on Tuesdays they have a club meeting from 7 p.m. and the Society's net is on Thursdays at 7 p.m. on 145.300 MHz. On Monday, Leicester Radio Society will meet at its club rooms and via Zoom from 7:30 p.m. and you can find the Zoom link on the club's website, which is golf3limaromeosierra.org.uk, and there'll also be a club meeting from 10 a.m. on Thursday. Lincoln Shortwave Club meet at the BSA Village Hall from 7:30 p.m. on Wednesdays and from 9:30 a.m. on Saturdays. On Thursday there'll be a net through Golf Bravo 3 Lima Sierra, or if that's busy they'll use 145.350 MHz. For more information visit their website, which is golf5foxtrotzulu.co.uk. On Tuesday, Loughborough and District Amateur Radio Club will meet to discuss Morse keys, and that will be hosted by Chris, Golf 1 Echo Tango Zulu. And for more information on the club, visit their website, which is Radio Club. That's all one word, radioclub.org.uk. On Wednesday, Malvern Hills Radio Amateurs Club have a net on 145.350 MHz FM starting at 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Midland Amateur Radio Society will hold a short committee meeting, and they'll also run training classes. On Monday, Nunsfield House Amateur Radio Group have a shack night and club net on 145.300 MHz from 8 p.m. and they'll also hold a surplus sale, and that will be on Friday. On Monday, RAF Waddington Amateur Radio Club have a club net on 145.325 MHz FM or the GB3LM repeater, and that's from 7:30 p.m. Then on Friday they'll meet at the Pie Wipe Inn from 8 p.m. Rugby Amateur Transmitting Society has weekday nets at 8:30 a.m. on 144.275 MHz upper sideband. They have training and practice Morse code nets on Monday and Thursdays at 4:30 p.m. on 144.275 MHz, starting off using upper sideband, then moving to Morse code. There's a meeting at the Borton Lee 12th Rugby Scouts Hut from 8 p.m. on Tuesday, and on Saturday from 2 p.m. Then on Friday the Society has a net on 1913 kHz from 8 p.m. On Thursday, Salop Amateur Radio Society will have its shack on the air during the 70 MHz UK activity contest. On Thursday, Solihull Amateur Radio Society will meet at the first Solihull Scout headquarters. That's from 8 p.m. On Sundays, South Birmingham Radio Society has activities in the attic with Bob and others, and you can find more information on that on the club's website. On Tuesdays, visitors are welcome to attend the Society's coffee morning from 10:30 a.m. On Tuesday, South Derbyshire and Ashby Wolds Amateur Radio Group have their net on 144.225. That's SSB from 7 p.m. Then on Friday, they have a net on 70.425 MHz from 7 p.m. On Monday, Sutton Coldfield Amateur Radio Society will meet at the Pavilion. That's on 9 Openfield Croft in Water Orton, starting at 8 p.m. On Wednesday, Telford and District Amateur Radio Society will have a 2-metre net from 7:30 p.m. And for more information on the club, visit their website, which is Tango Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. Wolverhampton Amateur Radio Society meet every Wednesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Wednesfield and Woodend British Legion. Then on Sundays they have a net around 145.350 MHz from 8 p.m. You can find more information on their website, which is at wolverhamptonars, it's all one word, .co.uk, or at Wolves ARS on social media. On Tuesday, members of the Withell Radio Club will meet from 7:30 p.m. Well, now we move down to the South East and East Anglia. Aylesbury Vale Radio Society meet on the third Wednesday of each month, and for more details on the club's activities, visit their website, which is Alpha Victor Romeo Sierra.org.uk. Banbury Amateur Radio Society has a club night on Wednesday from 7 p.m. and they have a net on 144.5125 MHz FM most evenings. For more information, visit their site, which is Banbury ARES, that's all one word, Banbury ARES.co.uk. On Wednesday, Bishop Stortford Amateur Radio Society will have its net starting at 8 p.m. on 145.5625 MHz. On Sundays, Bracknell Amateur Radio Club have their net through Golf Bravo 3 Bravo November from 5 p.m. and through Golf Bravo 3 Alpha Lima repeater from 5:30 p.m. Then on Wednesday, the club has a net on 145.375 MHz FM. That starts at 8 p.m. On Tuesday, the Braintree and District Amateur Radio Society will have a New Year quiz in its clubhouse and via Zoom, and that starts at 8 p.m. The Breed Stream Amateur Radio Society meet on the first and third Saturday of each month, and for more information visit their website, which is Bravo Sierra Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk. The Bredhurst Receiving and Transmitting Society meets in its shack every Wednesday from 7 p.m. and they also have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha on Thursdays. On Wednesday, Bromley and District Amateur Radio Society have a net starting on 145.500 MHz from 9 p.m. and they'll be holding their AGM on Thursday. For more information, visit the website, which is Bravo Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.wordpress.com. Burnham Beeches Radio Club meet on the first and third Friday of the month from 8 p.m. and you can find more information on the club's website. Bury St Edmunds Radio Society meet at the Rougham Tower Museum on the third Wednesday of each month. It's a small but very active club, and there are club nets every day of the week except Sunday. You can find details on the club's website, which is Bravo Sierra Echo Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk, and their general club chat frequencies are 144.7375 MHz FM and 433.400 MHz FM. On Sundays, the Chelmsford Amateur Radio Society have a Morse code net on 144.060 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Monday they have a Morse code net on 3542 kHz from 7:30 p.m. and that's followed at 8:15 p.m. by Golf Bravo 2 Charlie Whiskey slow Morse transmissions on 3555 kHz. Then on Tuesday they have an open net on 3756 kHz from 8 p.m. And on Thursday they'll have Morse code classes via Skype, and they start at 7 p.m. You can find more information on their website, which is Golf Zero Mike Whiskey Tango.org.uk. On Tuesday, the Chelsea Pensioners Radio Club have their net on 145.375 MHz from 2 p.m. On Tuesday, Chippenham and District Amateur Radio Club will enjoy HF with Jack On Tuesday, Chippenham and District Amateur Radio Club will be enjoying a talk entitled HF with Jack, Mike Zero Papa Lima Sierra, and that's from 7:30 p.m. For more information, you can visit their club's website, which is Chippenham Radio, all one word, chippenhamradio.club. On Tuesday, Colchester Radio Amateurs Club have open nets on 433.400 MHz from 7 p.m. and on 1920 kHz lower sideband from 8 p.m. Then on Wednesday, they meet around 145.350 MHz from 7 p.m. and on Thursday, the frequency is 3685 kHz from 7 p.m. and on Friday, there's an open DX net that's on 14.125 MHz with help on 145.350 MHz from 2:30 p.m. On Sundays, the Coulsdon Amateur Transmitting Society have nets on 145.400 MHz from 11 a.m. and on 3.700 MHz from 5 p.m. And the next meeting is tomorrow, the 13th, and on Wednesday they'll have a net around 70.425 MHz from 9 p.m. The Crawley Amateur Radio Club meet from 11 a.m. on Sundays and 2 p.m. on Fridays. They meet at Hut 18, that's on Tilgate Drive, Crawley, and the postcode is Romeo Hotel 105 Hotel Whiskey. For more information, you can contact Stuart, Golf 3 Yankee Sierra X-Ray. Stuart's number is 0772 006 8493. The Cray Valley Radio Society's 2 metre and 4 metre nets are held on 145.350 MHz on Sundays at 10 a.m. and on 70.425 MHz on Fridays at 8 p.m. Then on Thursday, members will have a planning meeting, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. And the club's website is charlievictorromeosierra.org. On Wednesdays, Crystal Palace Radio and Electronics Club have a net on 145.525 MHz from 8 p.m. and on Saturdays the club has a net on 51.550 MHz FM starting at 8 p.m. And their website address is charliepaparomeoechocharlie.org. On Sundays, Darrenth Valley Radio Society have their net on 145.475 MHz starting at 8 a.m. The Dorking and District Radio Society has a net each day from Monday to Saturday on 144.775 MHz FM at 10 a.m. Essex Ham have their net on Monday through Golf Bravo 3 Delta Alpha. That's from 8 p.m. with chat room and audio feed, which you can find at essexham.net. On Sundays, Felixstowe and District Amateur Radio Society have their net on 145.400 MHz from 10 a.m. and on Wednesday they meet through Golf Bravo 3 India Hotel from 7:30 p.m. On Tuesday, members of the Harlow and District Amateur Radio Society will meet from 10 a.m. and on Wednesday they have a net on 145.425 MHz from 7:30 p.m. and on Thursday they'll have a digital net, that's through the XLX 215 reflector. And then on Friday they'll meet from 8 p.m. and visitors are welcome to attend. The Hastings Electronics and Radio Club hold a daily net through Golf Bravo 3 Echo Sierra. That's at 10 a.m. They also have a Morse code net on Monday nights at 8 p.m. on 144.575 MHz. The Morse net is aimed at anyone new to Morse code or who wishes to brush up on their Morse skills, and non-members are welcome to take part. The net is then followed by general conversation. On Wednesdays, usually at 1 p.m, members meet up at various locations in the area for an afternoon of portable operating on HF and VHF. Non-members again are welcome to take part. The details do vary each week, so it's a good idea to visit their website on Wednesday morning to view up-to-date information about the location and time of the next meeting. And their web address is hastings-electronics-radio-club.com. On Tuesday, the Horndean and District Amateur Radio Club has a Morse code net at 9 a.m. That's around 1950 kHz, then moving to SSB at around 9:30 a.m. There's another net on Wednesday around 1950 kHz using SSB, and that starts at 7:30 p.m. On Sundays, the Isle of Wight Radio Society has a net through Golf Bravo 7 Papa Oscar and Golf Bravo 7 Mike Tango from 8 p.m. They also have a net from Monday to Friday through Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey from 6:15 a.m. Then on Tuesday, they take part in the Bramble net through Golf Bravo 3 India Whiskey from 7:30 p.m. On Thursday, there's another net through GB2RS, and that's followed by a Zoom meeting from 8 p.m. Then on Fridays they meet at Haylands Farm in Ryde, and at those meetings foundation and intermediate licence training is available. The Loughton and Epping Forest Amateur Radio Society has a net on Wednesday from 8 p.m. on Brandmeister Talk Group 23511. On Thursday they have a net from 8 p.m. on 144.725 MHz FM, and on Friday they'll meet through Zoom from 8 p.m. The Lowestoft District and Pye Amateur Radio Club have their net on Sundays on 433.575 MHz from 7 p.m. On Tuesday they have a net on 145.475 MHz from 7 p.m. and they meet on Thursday evenings from 7:30 p.m. Their last net of the week is on Friday, and that's on 51.490 MHz at 7 p.m. The Maidenhead and District Amateur Radio Club meet at the Friends Meeting House. That's on 14 West Street in Maidenhead, and the postcode is Sierra Lima 66 Romeo Lima. For more information, you can visit their website, which is Mike Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Charlie.org. The Martello Tower Group has a net every Monday at 8 p.m. That's through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Lima. And on Sundays they have a net through Golf Bravo 3 Charlie Echo from 8 p.m. The Medway Amateur Receiving and Transmitting Society nets are each weekday from 9:30 a.m. on 144.650 MHz. On Fridays, Milton Keynes Amateur Radio Society meet via Zoom for coffee and a chat, and that starts at 10:30 a.m. Norfolk Amateur Radio Club has a net through Golf Bravo 3 November Bravo every Monday from 7:30 p.m, and that's followed by a Morse code net on 3543 MHz, or 3.543 MHz, at 8:30 p.m. The Shefford and District Radio Society's regular nets are on Mondays on 1.985 MHz lower sideband from 7 p.m, and on Wednesdays through Golf Bravo 3 Papa India from 8 p.m. This coming Thursday, members will enjoy a talk on Bletchley Park, people and places. That will be given by Peter Marcham, Golf 3 Yankee X-Ray Zulu. You can find more information and directions on how to find the club on the club's website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.co.uk. On Wednesday, Southdown Amateur Radio Society will have a cafe meeting at 12:15 p.m, and this will be followed by a net through Golf Bravo 3 Zulu X-Ray from 2 p.m. The Stevenage and District Amateur Radio Society meet every Tuesday from 7:30 p.m. at the Stevenage Resource Centre on Chells Way, Stevenage, and the postcode is Sierra Golf 20 Lima Tango. They have free tea, coffee and biscuits for everyone attending. They have a club sked which is at 8 p.m. on the 80 metre band each Friday, close to 3.726 MHz. Then on the last Friday of each month, they have a 2-meter net, which takes place around 145.450 megahertz, and that's to encourage VHF activity and to help those who are new to the hobby. The club operates using the call sign Golf 3 Sierra Alpha Delta, and everyone's welcome to join in regardless of club membership. You can find more information on the club on their website, which is Sierra Alpha Delta Alpha Romeo Sierra.com. On Sundays, the Surrey Radio Contact Club has a net on 1.905 megahertz. That's at 9:30 a.m. Then on Monday, they have a net on 3.710 megahertz lower sideband from 9 a.m. And on Tuesday, there's a net on 51.550 megahertz from 8 p.m. On Wednesday, they meet on 28.078 MHz JS8 from 10 a.m. And on Thursday, the net is on 70.300 MHz from 8 p.m. Friday sees a D-Star net, that's on 144.6125 MHz from 7:30 p.m. And they also have an FM net on 145.350 MHz, that starts at 8 p.m. The next meeting of the West Kent Amateur Radio Society is tomorrow, the 13th, and they have regular weekly nets. You can find details of these and other club information on their website, which is Whiskey Kilo Alpha Romeo Sierra.org.uk. On Friday, the Whitton Amateur Radio Group will have an HF and VHF operating meeting, and you can find more information on their website, which is Whiskey Alpha Romeo Golf.dreamhosters.com. Well, that's all for this week's GB2RS News broadcast, which was brought to you by Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire. The news was compiled by the Radio Society of Great Britain, who represent amateur radio and radio amateurs in the UK and abroad. If you have a news item to share, then please email it to us as far in advance as possible, please. We'll include it for you free of charge in the GB2RS News broadcast, Radcom magazine and the RSGB website. Send it to the editorial team. Their email address is radcom@rsgb.org.uk. And if your news items are time sensitive, then it's important that you send them to us by 10 a.m. on the Thursday prior to the news broadcasts. The RSGB will retain copyright over all material transmitted. You can find information about amateur radio on our website, which is rsgb.org. And you can also download the full schedule of GB2RS News broadcasts from rsgb.org/GB2RS schedule. Well, we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS News team, and we hope you have a lovely Sunday and a great week ahead. And I'll be back again next week, and also back again later today on the 60-meter band at 3:30 p.m. So we wish you 7-3 from the GB2RS News team, hoping you have a lovely Sunday. And this is Graham, Golf 4 Juliet Bravo Delta in Meppershall, Bedfordshire, now listening for any calls.